Hello, everyone. This is Sasha with the LTRC. Thank you for joining us for tips to effectively manage client trust funds to stay compliant and boost cash flow with our sponsor, BQE Core Legal, as part of the LTRC Industry Insights series held every Wednesday. Our speakers today are Jeffrey M. Verdon and Rosemary Kupfert. Jeffrey M. Verdon is the managing partner of the Jeffrey M. Verdon Law Group, LLP. Mr. Verdon is a prominent estate planning, asset protection attorney, and internationally recognized legal expert providing intelligent solutions for ultra-high net worth individuals' estate planning needs. When it comes to estate tax planning, asset and lifestyle protection, there are effective yet seldom used strategies to save on taxes, protect money, and grow investments by beating the standard benchmarks. Traditional old line investments can have a seat at the table, but it is the synthesis of the newer and more creative strategies that have enabled us to help savvy investors grow and hold on to their assets even through troubled waters. Jeff is also a regular lecturer on luxury cruises where he travels the world with his wife, Wendy, teaching passengers the art and science of effective tax planning and asset protection. Rosemary Kupfert is product expert at Core Legal for BQE Software Inc. and has more than 30 years of experience working in and with law firms. From her time as a firm administrator to her many years consulting with over 1,000 law firms nationwide, Rosemary has helped firms with business and technology needs. She has improved firm workflow and administrative efficiency. Also, Rosemary has implemented time, billing, accounting, case management, document assembly, management, and docketing solutions to law firms. Thank you all for joining us. We'll now begin the webinar.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be with you this morning, afternoon, probably in other parts of the country. Let's talk about the agenda. We're going to talk about trust accounting and overview. What is a retainer and why is it required? We'll cover trust versus general accounts, excuse me. What are some of the best practices with regard to trust funds? And of course, we'll end it up with do's and don'ts to avoid mishandling, because that's where lawyers get into trouble and wind up losing their tickets. But first, I understand we have a poll question.
So our first poll question is, does your law firm have stringent firm procedures in place for receiving, monitoring, and documenting trust funds? First option is yes, procedures are in place. Second option is no, we use manual tracking. And the third is yes and no, procedures are skeptical and software does not provide for trust accounting. It looks like yes, procedures are in place utilizing modern software that provides three-way trust accounting reconciliation and retainer replenishment invoices using LawPay electronic payments was the top one at 66%.
All right, well, that's good that 2/3 of the folks out there are doing it the right way. So what is a retainer? A retainer is often used very generically, but it does have very specific meaning in the context of trust accounting procedures. Retainer is monies paid in advance as a deposit to engage the firm on an hourly basis. It's monies paid in advance as a deposit on a flat fee case, which is how our law firm mostly gets paid on flat fee work. Money paid as a deposit for expected out-of-pocket costs, and money's paid on a reoccurring basis. You have a corporate client that's paying you a monthly retainer, or perhaps a capped legal services arrangement. But it's very specific with respect to applying to trust accounting procedures. Next slide. So this is important. It may seem obvious to many, but this is where a lot of people run into trouble. The difference between a client trust account and an operating account. And I'm sure they didn't go over this with you in law school, for those of you who are just getting into your practices out of law school. So it's important that you understand this and understand it well. A trust account, as it suggests, your client is entrusting you to hold money for their invoices. They're entrusting you to hold their money to pay future costs, to pay a guaranteed payment at the end of a case, or if there's a settlement, to pay money out to the client. It is their money, not your money. And then whatever's left over, that in your operating account, that's the law firm's money to spend. And it's very important you follow those procedures. Uh, what is a trust, interest only lawyer's trust account? Um, it's a bank account specifically set up to hold money for future legal services. It's separate from your firm's operating account. I was surprised to learn when I first got into practice, there were a lot of law firms that didn't even have trust accounts. You have to have a trust account. And when you have one of these IOLTA trust account situations, the interest that's earned on those accounts are paid into your state bar. So you have to make sure that when you do your monthly accounting, you account for the fact that whatever interest shows up on that account does not get credited in your account, but that it's been taken out and sent to the state bar. And that way you can have accuracy of your trust account. And one of the best ways to make sure that you do have accuracy in your trust account is to consider the CORE's legal three-way trust account reconciliation program. And that'll be discussed a little bit later by Rosemary.
Looks like the top option was the last one at the very bottom. Yes, and the terms are clear in our attorney-client fee agreement and trust funds are replenished.
So what are trust account funds? Again, as the term suggests, this is your client's money that you're holding for future services. You're holding it for future expenses. Perhaps you've received it as part of a settlement and you're holding it for trust distributions. Again, these are funds your client is trusting you to hold for them for a future date. Now, this is a subject that can get us all into get behind on our clients. So what we don't want to do is get behind on your client with regard to monthly work in progress. So you might be, I don't do litigation, but if for those of you that do, or if I were in litigation, I would be working on trial prep, discovery and so forth. And you can burn a lot of time. And if you don't keep track of your time in between billing periods, you can wind up getting way behind your client. You need to advise your client if you'll be needing additional resources for optimal case preparation. Perhaps you've established a budget with your client for anticipated fees and costs. And it'd be important to have a program in place, such as CORE's legal dashboard display, where they can track your work in progress and trust account balances. Rosemary, can you speak to how your system helps?
Yeah, well, I want to talk a little bit about this because, you know, being a firm administrator and always having to work with partners on replenishing trust accounts and, you know, how did we get negative balances because nobody is monitoring. Sometimes it's with antiquated software or people aren't entering their time as they go when you have multiple attorneys working on a case. So with a fresh solution, you have dashboards in place where when you log in, you could see trust account balances, you could see progress. So having a fresh solution in place where your timekeepers enter their time as they work their files, they don't enter it the next day, the next week, or month end, or go recreate time from emails and notes. It's really important that if you're working with trust accounts, that you're entering your time, monitoring your balances and your work in process so you don't go negative. And then it's hard to get money from the client. So just having a solution in place is really helpful.
And you have some solutions for us to discuss in a few moments, do you not?
Yeah, we'll be talking a little bit at the end, and we're also going to have a surprise at the end for everybody who attends a demo.
Right. Well, I've learned after doing this for over 4 decades, it's always good to stay ahead of your client, and we like to get our funds up front. And you know, if you ask your client for the funds up front, in most cases they're going to give it to you. The problem is you forget to ask, or you're not comfortable asking for the funds in advance. So don't wait to send your client a retainer replenishment invoice. As you track your work in progress, if you're getting dangerously close to a zero balance, you know, get that invoice out mid-month, and you can, again, using the core software will easily allow you to do that. also, Rosemary, your law pay link. Maybe you can
Yeah.
just spend a moment and talk about that.
Yeah, and Core Legal provides the ability to link with LawPay, which is an online electronic payment solution that you can actually put on your regular invoices for your general account, your regular invoices, not your retainer invoices. So whether you're sending a retainer invoice or a monthly invoice, the monthly invoice can provide the link that goes into your general for regular AR. And the retainer invoice can also have its own separate link where the monies that the clients pay online go directly into your client trust account. So having those features and functionality in a software in place and implemented in your law firm, number one, get your invoices paid faster, ensures that everything is going into the proper accounts.
That's good to know, Rosemary. Thank you. And when you pay costs out of for your client, they should be paid from the trust account. You shouldn't be paying your client costs out of your general account. And depending upon the jurisdiction in which you practice, that may violate your rules of professional responsibility. So make sure you pay your client cost out of the trust account, and then whatever the net is to the firm, you move it over after you bill the client.
And I can comment on that too, because, if you say you have an expert witness deposition transcript that you need, that's $1,000. You are taking money out of your day-to-day operating expenses to pay that when you have money sitting there in trust. And then a lot of law firms, their standard procedure is to wait and collect the money at month end when they bill. But in most states, it is acceptable practice that you can write a check from your client trust account directly to the vendor associated on the case.
And just make sure, to your point, good point, Rosemary, that your engagement letter, your legal services agreement does provide how you do that. So it's all clear and specific as to each of your cases. Next slide, please. So, important slide. If you've been sleeping the last 15 minutes, this is the slide you really want to pay close attention to. This will get you in trouble. You'll lose your ticket if you do some of these things. Don't borrow client trust funds before they're earned. And I know it can be very challenging. You're getting down to the end of the month, you got bills to pay, and you're going to do the work, but you haven't quite done it yet. And you take money from the client trust account. That's not a good practice. Don't deposit your client trust money into your general account and then transfer it back to trust. Don't deposit accounts receivable that you're collecting for work done in the trust account and then transfer it to the general account. And don't forget to deduct the interest that comes out to the state bar at the end of the month so your accounts reconcile. And if you have antiquated trust accounting software, again, be a good idea to consider the core program and how they rectify these issues very handily. Rose, can you speak to how core provides this service and will avoid these mistakes?
Yeah, and being a prior firm administrator, and when I was a legal secretary, I also worked for the president of the Federal Bar Association. So I was the one that was responsible for getting audit requests in Orange County. And I had to call these law firms and get all their records and everything. And sometimes, they could not provide accurate records. So not only do you need a fresh, modern solution to monitor your trust accounting, you also have the ability with Core Legal to do three-way trust account reconciliation, which all you accounting folks out there know what that means and how important it is. And just keeping your records straight when you deposit money in the general, you transfer it to trust, and vice versa, it becomes an accounting nightmare. So just keeping accurate records and having just separation is just key to managing your practice and your trust accounts.
Makes sense. So next slide. What do we do with our client trust accounts? Well, do have a signed fee agreement, at least in our jurisdiction, for legal services over $1,000. You must have a signed engagement letter. And that's something that unfortunately a lot of lawyers fail to do. And then when they have to enforce it, there isn't a signed agreement and you've got to give all the money back to your client. Do have a retainer replenishment amount in your agreement that when it falls below a certain sum, you can make that request. And if you use the LawPay electronic payment link on those invoices. It makes it much easier to collect that. Do keep detailed and accurate client trust account records. Very, very important. And again, to plug Core's system, very good system. They have a very effective way, robust way to track all this and keep you out of trouble. Rosemary?
Yep. I don't have much on this one. Just, don't wait till month end to wait till your monthly invoices go out because some products give you the ability to put send a replenishment, but a lot of lawyers wait. Have a program that gives you the ability to send a separate invoice with that law pay link. So, when they get it, when clients receive invoices or retainer replenishments via email with an electronic link, the stats are you get paid within 5 days. So
Excellent.
Having all that is just key to cash flow, business operations.
All right, I see we have our next poll question.
All right, our third question is, does your firm have a fresh modern solution in place to provide the business tools and dashboards to easily monitor WIP versus money and client trust funds? All right, so the top response was yes, we have solution with fresh dashboards to monitor.
Well, as we conclude this webinar, we just want to talk a little bit about the core legal functions. And obviously today we're talking about a billing program and how important it is to capture time as you work on your cases and have mobility options to track time, upload receipts, and just basically have a full functionality on your mobile app. Core Legal provides CRM, AR, AP, a lot of charts and metrics to manage your business as you work on files and just manage day-to-day financial operations. So Core will provide a fully integrated platform for those of you who are using separate systems where nothing's linked and you can't get reports and you're piecemealing things together. Fully integrated system would provide you just better reporting and ease of use. And
thank you, Rose.
for everyone who is attending today, we're having a year-end bonus. Anyone who gets in touch with me and signs up for a demo of Core Legal will get a $75 gift card if you schedule those by Friday. So after this seminar, you will receive the contact information and contact me and we'll get you rolling so you can see firsthand how Core will improve business operations. And I just wanted to show you a few of the management dashboards. This is Core Legal dashboards are absolutely customizable. So management can see anything they want regarding their key performance metrics as they log in. So if you want to see trust account, WIP, timekeeper performance, accounts receivable, anything you want to see, these management dashboards are customizable and the security settings are very robust. So the average user can only see the information that you need them to see. And then we have the timekeeper dashboard. So the timekeepers, when they log into the solution, they will have all the metrics, to-do lists, anything they need right in front of them. And again, these are sometimes role-based to see the data that you only want them to see. We also have, here's on the client matter where you can assign the trust accounts, and the trust accounts can be assigned on the client or the matter level. And the next screen will just show, how you're transferring monies from the client to, your general. So it'll show you at the end of the billing cycle, all the money that you can transfer over. So there's several friendly screens. And, as I say, with regard to entering time, Core Legal provides several options for entering time. You have your daily time card, which is just like an Excel spreadsheet. So if any of you are entering time on Excel spreadsheets and then having staff re-enter time, it's not efficient because people could just enter their own time and monitor their WIP as they go. And it's especially important too, if you ever have to sub out of a case, on an emergency basis, and you have to talk to 10 lawyers, where's your time? Where's your time? And they have to recreate it. Or say you're in court and you need actual numbers to settle a case. If you're not entering your time live with a modern solution, your firm is losing valuable billable hours. And then of course we have our mobile app, which again, fully functional, full accounting functionality. If you're in the field and your attorney calls you and says, generate an invoice, or you're an attorney and say you're working remote or doing something on site somewhere and you need just a quick invoice, especially with today's times when we're meeting in different places and, doing things differently, your mobile app can generate an invoice. You can even ask our mobile app with its artificial intelligence, how much money is in my bank account? Can I afford to take Mr. Verdon to dinner? And it'll give you key performance metrics. It'll give you just a lot of different performance metrics just by asking artificial intelligence. And then of course, if we talk about different billing options, Core Legal does provide all the standard legal billing requirements, such as split billing. We have leads billing and just your basic hourly billing, along with over 500 canned reports that can be customized to your firm's practice.
Rose, would you like to explain that promotion that you guys have one more time just before we finish up?
Yeah, anybody who reaches out to me by Friday and schedules a demo with one of our product experts, which would be a personal demo for your firm, so you can ask the questions that you need answered for your business practice, we'll get a $75 gift card.
Great. So it looks like that is all the time that we're going to have today. I'd like to thank our sponsor, BQE Core Legal, and all of you for attending our webinar today as part of the LTRC Industry Insight Series. If you are curious about future webinars, please check out the ABA LTRC page or follow our Twitter at LTRC for updates. One more time, thank you to Jeffrey and Rosemary for presenting today. We will now conclude the webinar. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you,
Thank
Sasha.
you, Rose. Thank you, Carrie, Sasha.